Shall we begin? Right? Sounds like we're in the arena or something. All right. The OSI model, Open Systems Interconnect. Again, conceptual blueprint. Don't go crazy. It's about 2 or 3 questions on your exam. Not a big deal. We need to know that there's 7 layers from 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. We need to know the layer name. Now, I'm sure in the books or your teachers, professors, whatever, they've given you a mnemonic device to remember the layers. I like to use all people seem to need Domino's pizza. That's how I remember the OSI. I don't go application, presentation, session, transfer. I don't do that. I say all people seem to need Domino's pizza. I put the first letter of each one. And okay, application, presentation, session, transport, network, and all that good stuff. All right. So you need to get, some sort of a mnemonic device. Our English teachers taught us that back in middle school, high school. These things that will help us remember other things. So all people seem to need data processing. That's kind of boring. So Domino's pizza. That's pretty cool. So that's why I like to use that. So 7 layers, and each layer has its name. So you need to make sure that you know that. Let me, yeah, that's right there. Okay. All right. Now, the physical layer. All the letters that you see in red, we'll get that in a little bit. All right. But these are all the layers. This is everything that works on these layers. Okay. Each layer has its purpose. It's just like your book explains to you. Each layer has a particular job to do. The layer below it just needs to make sure that the layer above it does its part, because it's going to, and this is key, the layer below will encapsulate the layer above. That is key right there. The layer below will encapsulate the layer above. All right. So these are your 7 layers right there. Okay. And each layer has a different purpose. You see there's different protocols and different things that each layer is in charge of. That's why they break it apart that way, to make it where when vendors create their NIC cards, or you're creating IPv6, you can do whatever you want to one layer. It's not going to damage or hurt the other layer whatsoever. You're focused on that one particular layer. As far as we're concerned, all right, why can't I ping? And why I'm not getting any ARP when you're checking with your devices, your flukes or whatever it is that you're using to test ARP, right? ARP is, as you can see, works at layer 2. So these are things that when you use it out there, gives you an idea, hey, what's going on? The difference between an unreachable and a request timeout. So the OSI is here just for that particular purpose. All the models are. The TCP/IP model, the Cisco 3-layer model, they're there just to give us an idea of how things should flow. Where should we place, or how, in the Cisco 3-layer model, where they say the top router, that's your core router. You don't mess with that. You want things to go fast, right? Switching information back and forth. So it just gives us an idea how things should work. But definitely, these are all your layers. These are different things that work on each layers. And you see that, and we're going to get into the next video. Like I said, I've turned this course into bite-sized morsels. All right. You have the upper 3 layers and the lower 4 layers, which we'll talk about. All right. And each one of those has this particular function. You see, you have data, data, data. So nothing gets segmented until finally it reaches the transport layer. And then it moves on from there. So again, don't go crazy with the OSI model. It's 7 layers. Application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, and physical. If you learned it from the bottom up, that's fine. As long as you get it in the right order. You need to make sure that, hey, layer 2 is the data link layer. Hey, the data link layer has 2 sub-layers, the LLC and the MAC. Things like that. That's the kind of things you need to be aware of. All right, that it's just a logical understanding. As the verbiage in your book, the conceptual blueprint. All right, for us to understand the flow of information and what happens at each layers up to a certain point. If you're going to be an electrical engineer, if you're going to design a new routing protocol, if you're going to design a new routed protocol, whatever it is that you want to go ahead and design here, a new gateway or what have you, this is something that you need to get really deep into. But if you're not, if you're just basically saying going out there into the field and you're testing stuff back and forth, all you really need to know is like, hey, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that, why isn't that? Okay, it's probably a layer 2 issue, a layer 3 issue, a layer 1 issue, and that's what you're going to see. Because in the router, when you're inside the router and you do a show IP int brief, it either shows you up, good to go, up, down, layer 2, down, layer 1. Administratively down, that's your problem. You forgot to turn it on. But this is how we would use that. Okay? Physical error, down. That means something didn't get plugged in correctly or you didn't put an IP address, something happened. All right, so that's how we would use these layers. So know definitely the order of the layers, know the numbers of the layers, the mnemonic device. All people seem to need Domino's Pizza. But now in the next lesson, we're going to get into we're going to separate the upper layers from the lower layers, and we'll give explanations on those. I'll see you in the next session.